Recent reports are showing that inflation across the country is rising. The last report showing it's 6.8% year over year. Prices are rising. That includes energy costs. A lot of people that I'm talking to are nervous about prices going up and energy costs. So we wanted to bring in our local energy experts from REMC. I have Brian Omerso with us to answer some questions. Brian, thanks for joining us. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Mike. Thanks for having us on. We appreciate the chance to talk to your viewers, your listeners, about how to make the best energy decisions that they can in a very chaotic and changing world. So we're glad to be here.
Yeah, you got that right. Changing, chaotic, and that's the goal today. Is let's bring on some experts to help maybe quiet some of that noise and hopefully put some people at ease. So, Brian, what are you all seeing on the energy cost front for Southern Indiana and maybe even for REMC clients?
Sure. I think we're seeing the same things that just about everybody in the country is seeing. There are just a ton of pressures on our cost to produce and deliver energy. It's the same thing with everything that's happened with COVID. It's more expensive to produce things. It's more difficult to transport them. There are labor shortages all over the place. So all the energy markets that are out there, the prices just keep rising. And I don't know that it's something that we can control necessarily. I think from our experts that we talk to, we partner with Hoosier Energy up in Bloomington. That's where we get our electricity from. They feel like it's a short-term thing, that it will eventually recede back to something closer to normal. But right now, it's just a storm that we have to weather.
Okay. Yeah. And that's to be expected. So here's what I want to put to you. I know REMC really is a community partner. I mean, you're not just an energy provider. Lots of good information on your website that a lot of my viewers may not know about. So talk to us about, with these rising prices, how can local energy consumers, what can they do to kind of keep those costs low?
Sure. I think the first thing that we would encourage all of our members to do, and we've got 22,000 members at REMC through 5 counties. Our first step is always to just make sure the member understands what their energy bill is. Understand how to read your bill, how to look at your usage. We've got a web platform called Smart Hub that you can log in and you can see hour by hour exactly how much electricity you've been using. I think the shock that so many people get when they've been using electricity for a month, and then they get a bill and they say, how in the world could it be like this? It's really hard to diagnose that when you're trying to figure out what happened over the last month. But if you can become an active user of electricity and look and see how much hour by hour, day by day you're using, then maybe you realize, oh, we ran the dryer for 6 hours that day, or we had a lot of people over that day. That's why it spiked. Or look at that cold snap that came through my heating system was running all day long. Those things take some of the shock out. So first, we would encourage members to just be informed, take control of that. And if you don't know how to find that information, give us a call and we'll walk you through it. But really on the electricity side, we can't push electricity into anybody's house. It has to be requested. So it's the appliances that are the biggest culprits. About 40% of every homeowner's energy cost comes from their heating and cooling system. So you can do simple things like changing your air filter at least once a month to make sure that that's always fresh and clean, to all the way up to replacing systems that are maybe older and less efficient. REMC does offer some really helpful rebates. We can give up to $1,500 back to our members if they install a high energy efficiency unit. And that goes for HVAC systems. We give rebates on water heaters, the heat pump water heaters, just kind of making some of those smart energy choices. That's going to help reduce those bills, even if we can't necessarily control the rising costs.
Okay. So it sounds like a lot of just those energy efficiency tips with appliances, weather stripping, you may be adding some insulation, things like that.
Duct cleaning is a good one.
Mm-hmm.
We see a lot of members get benefit when they get those ducts cleaned out. Then all of a sudden your heating efficiency goes way up. Even small choices like LED bulbs. It's amazing. No matter how many moms and dads tell their kids to turn the lights off, it just doesn't ever seem to happen. And you leave something on for a few days, and at least if it's an LED, you're consuming much less energy. So
Yeah.
just small choices made over time can help curb that difficulty.
Yeah. And I think I remember you all have some energy kits that you give away, or you kind of have some trade-ins with
That's right.
occasionally.
Yeah, and actually, right now we're like you said before, we do want to be a partner in our community. So every winter we have a canned food drive. So if any member will come to the office and drop off 6 canned good, non-perishable items, we give them a free energy kit in exchange. And so it's got some high efficiency bulbs, but it also has just the little covers that you can put inside of your outlets to make sure that you're not losing heat and cooling through your outlets, and weather stripping, and just some of those things, just to make sure you stay on top of the little things, the little gaps in and around your home that can kind of be like energy vampires, just constantly sucking out little bits by bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian, I know you're well aware of this, but if we go, you can do all of the energy efficiency things and all of that. There's always going to be a handful of people that just can't afford to pay their electric bill for whatever reason. And again, the community partner approach that you all take. I saw a post on your Facebook and your socials recently about, hey, how you guys can assist in that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Of course. We, as a member-owned cooperative, we care deeply about the members that we serve. They're our owners. They're not just consumers. They own us. And so if they're struggling, then we're struggling. And we want to make sure that we can come alongside anyone that's going through a difficult time. And whether that started with COVID or it's just their life circumstances right now, we want to partner with them to help. So we've got great relationships with our community agencies, Community Action, Ohio Valley, Hoosier Upland, several of those agencies, and lots of churches around here that if you can make that phone call, we've got all the information on the website. They typically have an application that you can fill out and maybe get some financial assistance. We also see a lot of help from our township trustees, and we've got all of their contact information online as well. So the 2 big things that I would share first is don't wait until the last minute. That really is the most important piece. We're going to help by trying to make payment arrangements or give a little more time to pay the bill. We do try to do that when we can. But if we're getting that call at 7:30 in the morning and the power is going to be disconnected at 8, there's just very little that we can do in that window of time. So if you know something's coming up and you're not going to be able to make that payment, give us a call early. Give us a couple of days so that not only can you work on your application with financial assistance groups, but also we can see what resources and capabilities we have to try and help. When COVID happened last year, we've always had a lot of these resources available, but our board of directors recognized that something different was going to be needed. And so July of last year, they launched what's called the Lend a Hand program. And we've just been blown away because what this program is, it's REMC members helping other REMC members. So if you call in and make a donation, whether a couple dollars every month or a larger one-time donation, first, our board of directors matches that dollar for everything that's given. And then our township trustees distribute that money to those who have applied for assistance and maybe need a little extra help that the trustees themselves couldn't give. So to date, we've seen more than $25,000 donated by REMC members that's funneling right back out to their neighbors, their school teachers, all of the people around them in their community. So we're really proud of that because it just highlights how great our members are. But we know as times change, we need to adapt with them and find new ways to be right alongside you.
Yeah. And adapt. I want to talk about that for a second. Brian Omerso with REMC with me today. Look, you guys have created this image of just being this local community co-op, and you can feel it. If you look at anything that REMC does, it's local and community minded. I think people get the mistaken identity that you guys are adaptive and on the cutting edge. I want to talk to you about the solar program that you guys have. I honestly wasn't aware of it until just a few months ago. So talk about what REMC is doing with solar and how consumers can take advantage of that.
Yeah. And I certainly appreciate that mindset that the little local co-op, the little local company, they're just going to do the bare minimum and we're all the good old boys. And but we really do. We try to stay on the edge of what's happening in and around us. Because again, if our members own us, if our members are interested in solar, then we're interested in solar. If they're interested in battery storage, then so are we, because we want to be that energy partner, not just an energy provider. We want to be an energy partner for them. So as far as solar goes, we've got a couple of different ways that we can partner with you. First, if you want to have a solar installation at your home or business, we want to just be that trusted resource of information. We want to make sure that you've asked all of the right questions. We don't necessarily take a position on which the recommended installer or seller should be. We leave that up to our members to decide, but we want to make sure nobody's being taken advantage of, or somebody's just trying to make a quick sale and now you're saddled with a high cost of a solar installation. So we got a lot of information on the website. When you're ready to make that decision, give us a call. We do have an interconnection agreement that we can get established with you so that you can sell some of that energy, solar energy, back to us and help offset some of that cost. So we want to be helpful there, but we know a lot of members simply don't either have the resources to make what might be a $10,000 or $20,000 purchase for a solar install, or they've got too many trees. They don't have the floor plan on their roof for something like that. So we have a program that's called My Solar that's been out for about 3 years now. And we have a solar field with about 4,000 solar panels in Underwood, Indiana. And so what a member can do is they can actually just pay a small upfront fee of $500. And that essentially buys them one panel in that field. So you have no maintenance, no upkeep, no insurance costs, none of those things. But you will get a credit on your bill every month for how much energy that one panel produces. So it's essentially doing solar without any of the upfront costs aside from that nominal fee of buying the rights to that panel. So we've seen a lot of members take advantage of that because it just made more sense for them. So a couple of different ways. And if you've got any other ideas, any members got some questions, or they just want to know what it's all about, we got a lot of people here that can help them. Just give us a call.
Yeah, that's awesome. Brian, do you have a sense of how much on average a panel credit would be?
So what we would see from the My Solar perspective, what we actually do is we've got 4,000 panels in our site, but we take about 40,000 panels that are spread all throughout Southern Indiana. They're all owned by Hoosier Energy. And so we kind of take the total that all of those are produced, and then we divide that by the number of panels so that just in case it was sunnier up near Bloomington than it was down here, you're still getting the benefit of that. But we see it goes all over the place. In the summer, it's going to be higher. In the winter, it's going to be lower because you're just not getting quite as much sun. But we have that cost perspective that over the course of 20 years, because that's what that My Solar agreement is, over the course of 20 years, you will make back your $500. It's definitely not a get rich quick scheme. You're not going to be able to all of a sudden get rid of your electric bill, but over the course of that 20 years, you will make back that 500 and then some, assuming that, the world doesn't fall apart again and all of a sudden solar doesn't work. Right. The way that COVID has turned the world upside down. So I don't have necessarily a specific figure. We do have some information on the website where you can get some estimates, but over the course of 20 years, you can make that $500 investment back with a little extra on top.
Sure. Staying on the kind of this cutting edge theme, electric vehicles are all the rage. You guys are participating in that in certain ways. Talk to us about the EV offering that you have.
Sure. Again, if our members are interested in it, so are we, because they are our owners. We care about them a lot. So right now, as I said, we partner with Hoosier Energy, and they've supplied us with some electric vehicle charging stations. So if a member is in the market for an electric vehicle, first, again, we want to be that energy partner. We want to be a trusted source. So call us so that we can walk you through maybe some of the questions that you have. What kind of charging do you need? Is it level 1, level 2, level 3? There's so many different questions out there. We've got good information on the website where you can compare the model of a vehicle that you're looking at. You can really understand the difference between your traditional unleaded fuel cost versus electricity. There's a lot of good information out there. We've given out 10 or 12 chargers to members so far, completely free of charge. Which is a good savings for them. And kind of all we ask in return is that the data of how often those things are charging kind of uploads to the cloud. And we just want access to that data so that we can learn, so that we can be a better source of information for you. So we can get you that charger. All you got to do is call our office. We don't have an unlimited number of them, but as long as Hoosier Energy has some in supply, every time we've asked them for a couple, they've been good about bringing them down to us. So we know that it's going to get more and more popular. Beneficial electrification is such a hot topic right now, where if there's something that we can shift to electricity, it just makes a lot of sense environmentally to do so. And if that's what our members are interested in, then we want to be there for them. So just give us a call.
Yeah. Brian, I appreciate the information today. Again, I don't want to sound like I'm a commercial for REMC, but you guys really do a great work in our local community, and you can really get a sense that you are a partner. I'm going to encourage people, if you want to learn more, RMC's Facebook page is always putting out good and helpful information, not just about electric, but community events that you guys put on. And but where can people find more information about the programs that we talked about today?
That's right. For a lot of the topics we talked about, our main website, clarkremc.coop, is the best place to go for that. But we're always going to be posting things on social media. You can just search Clark REMC on any of your social channels. For example, we're in December now, so a lot of the deadlines to apply for your rebates for your energy efficient things are happening now. So get online and check out those details. I did just want to mention, we had a wonderful event just last week called our Santa's Wonderland. And so we were able to bring in about 1,200 members from our community. We turned our whole property into this winter wonderland with lights and the cast of characters, the Grinch and Elsa and Anna from Frozen. We had a ton of fun with members just driving safely through our lot. And we post things like that all the time. So stay checked in with our socials, and we'd love to, whether you're an REMC member or you just happen to live nearby, we want to make our community better than when we found it. And we've been here for over 80 years. So we're glad to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. He's Brian Omerso with REMC. I'll put links in the video and in the blog post. Brian, thanks again so much for joining us today.
Mike, thank you. Have a great day.
Hey, if you'd like to have updates on Southern Indiana events, news, and real estate information you can use delivered directly to your email inbox, visit us at 812living.com/blog. That's 812living.com/blog, and sign up for alerts.